Peace, beloved. It's on Full Moon, and you're watching The Dark Side of the Moon, where we expand your consciousness through spiritual awareness and mental health awareness, and talk about different aspects of the universe and all that good stuff. So obviously we're sitting in the car right now. Been really busy these last couple weeks, just trying to set things up differently. You know how it is. Just getting to a higher place. Eventually, I want to have like a little studio space exclusively for this channel, but now the goal right now is just to put out as much content as possible and just work my way up to that. So today's episode is going to be talking about breath, the most powerful form of magic that you can use, and how you can use it for basically any situation in your life. When you do have time, but you always have time to breathe. You just don't always have time to meditate. So I am a big fan, you can say, of meditation, and that's why I push it so heavy. Obviously I do it pretty much every day. Some days I do miss it, but that's like very occasional, and even in those days I still find the time to really imagine my breath as a light coming into my body when I breathe in, and imagining black smoke coming out. And the black smoke is like, you know, things that I'm holding on to that are negative and have negative attachment on me. So how is breath the most powerful form of magic? As I've talked about in this channel a lot, is that we live in a dualistic world, but it's not supposed to be dualistic. You're supposed to see that there's two sides to everything and unify the two. So how does that apply to breath work? Breath work, you breathe in and you breathe out. So it's two forces that you are dealing with, two powers, and you're unifying the two by keeping it in rotation. And you also are connecting yourself with the ethers, you're connecting yourself with the universe, you're connecting yourself with the trees outside, because the trees get their food not only from the sun, but from what we breathe. I forgot what chemical it is specifically, but we feed off of the trees and we get the oxygen back from the trees. I don't know like what chemical that the trees get from us. I really need to study that. But anywho, so you're connecting with pretty much everything, and you're bringing it into your body, and in the act of doing so, you are healing yourself, and you are vibrating with the universe and the outside world. And things like plants, they are connected to the earth, therefore they have a high energetic balance with the planet, like they're really in tune with the planet. So as you're creating this dynamic that is going back and forth, you are raising your vibration. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but there's a chart and it has like love at the top and it's like fear at the bottom, and then you'll see like it's different emotions that lead up to the very top. So on a day-to-day basis, obviously we're humans, we go through days that aren't always like what we want them to be, and things happen unexpectedly, and sometimes we get into like lower vibrational states. And when we're in lower vibrational states, you can feel it. The more that you do breath work and the more that you do shadow work for yourself and really step into a more understanding of the deeper parts of this life, like once you start to do that, you will start to have an awareness of your body, and you'll be able to feel when your energy is a little bit low, and you can feel it's like a sensation. It's like when you're lower on the spectrum, it's like a little ball of energy that's really chaotic inside of you. Well, at least it is for me. And sometimes it'll be a certain temperature as well. When I'm highly energetic and like I'm high on the spectrum, I'll feel like my third eye area is like, it almost feels like I'm high. Like if you've ever smoked before, it's like smoked weed. If you ever smoked weed before, it feels like you're high, and it's literally something that you can literally create just based off of breathing, because we create DMT when we are with our own breath, like we create it with our body. So when you create high amounts of DMT by accessing the breath work and practicing that, you can reach a high sensation, and you can tap into essentially what it is called flow. The groove in the game. You know, when people playing basketball, they be in it. Like, you be in that particular spectrum of like life. You know, you'll be in the zone. You'll be there. You know. So you can create that and get yourself out of a lot of situations. Like when you're in the middle of, like, let's say you're in the middle of traffic and like it's just pissing you off because you're already late as hell to work, and now the traffic is making you even late to work. You can sit there in that moment and just regulate how you're gonna respond to that situation by doing breath work. So breathing in, do it with me, practice. As you do that, you'll start to notice that you become a lot more calmer, because one, you're slowing down your heart rate. And so when you get in that particular area, the things that once put you in a crazy frenzy or just a lower vibrational charge, you've now rised above it. And the higher that you go, the higher you get to like Christ consciousness, which is essentially like, in the Bible, Jesus was going around, and it was almost like he was not giving a fuck about what all these people were saying to him, everything that was happening to him. Like, people were throwing stuff at him, like they were treating him bad, just all throughout. And it seems like he was being unaffected by any of that. That's essentially the mindset like he was on. Like, that's where the energy was. He had raised all that energy up to the top. So when you're at that energetic level, those lower emotions and those things that come with those lower emotions, which is like, you know, situations that happen, you know, you'll be on top of them. So you can look at them and be like, for one, it's a temporary moment. It's gonna pass. There's something better out there for me, you know, depending on the situation, you know. What else? This is here to teach me a lesson, you know. Sometimes shit just happens, you know, and you can't really sit there and let it affect you, because if you let it affect you, you let it take you down, when the next day you'll be fine, you know. It's stuff like that. Now, of course, there are certain things that I wouldn't say doesn't work with, but it takes a longer time to really show the effects. Because let's just be honest, like, some shit in life is just like losing people, whether physically or like, you know, them leaving to the spiritual realm. It's like those things can be heavy, you know, and one little time of sitting there and doing breath work isn't gonna like help heal you, you know. It's not gonna help rise you. And if it does, well, shit, good for you. I mean, hey, you know, I would love to have a heart that strong. But yeah, like, you know, sometimes in certain situations, like, it's gonna take a little longer, but it's all about that consistency. You know, daily breath work is important. If you really want to achieve everything that you want to achieve, no matter what it is that you want to achieve, breath work is one of the essentials. It's one of the things that even, like, you know, big entrepreneurs, you don't have to listen to me, big entrepreneurs, you hear them say it all the time, they incorporate meditation into their daily habits. Like, it's daily, you know. They are not playing around. They are in it to win it, and they are doing it what they're doing. And it's important that we do come back to ourselves more than just entrepreneurship and want everything that we want from what we're meditating for and manifesting for. It's important that we do come back to ourselves as source, come back to ourselves and be in that state of mind so that we can, heal, essentially, because the planet has a lot of healing to do. And you pick up things on a daily basis, so it's like almost like a forever thing, but it's a lot more pungent than having to pop a pill every day. Like, if you can really create some consistency on a daily basis to sit down and have time for yourself and to really tap in, you can transcend a lot of things, like a lot of mental health stuff. You can transcend a lot of attachment issues. You can transcend by simply coming to yourself and attaching yourself back onto yourself, instead of having yourself outside of yourself, which is like say you're in a relationship, right? And like you had an attachment issue that you got from your parents. Like, your mom wasn't there, she was always working, your dad wasn't there and they was always working. So now you show up a certain way. I forgot how that shows up in people's life. I guess I can give it in my example. Like, I had my mom, but my dad was in a different state. So that showed up a little differently for me. I had some attachment issues. Me and my mom's relationship wasn't the best when I was younger. So it led to me not feeling loved, not feeling appreciated. So my attachment issue then became that I tried to find that love in other people instead of trying to find it in myself first and attaching myself to myself first and then going to find love, because then I could create a better love than the attachment style version of love, which is like, oh, this person has to make me happy in 100% ways, and when they're gone, there goes the happiness too. That's a horrible attachment style, but it's just very normal for a lot of people, especially when the parents aren't there. That's the easiest attachment style. So nonetheless, breath work is one of the most powerful forms of magic, because you can literally transcend your limitations and allow your limitations to no longer be limitations. And you know what happens when you no longer have limitations? You no longer have the thing in your mind telling you that you can't do something, because that's the only way that you can't do something, is because you told yourself that you couldn't do it in the first place. Like, everything takes practice. You may not immediately get on to something, but everything takes practice. Like, you might get on the skateboard and you might have fallen a couple of times, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn eventually. It just takes time. You can literally do anything that anybody else is doing in this world. You can do it yourself, unless it's like some shit that involves being another gender, or some shit that involves being another, I can't say ethnicity. Just don't worry about it. But nonetheless, obviously nothing to jump out the window and start flying away. Like, you can't do everything you put your mind to, but essentially the humane things you can do in this world, you can do it. You just simply have to put yourself in a mindset that eliminates limitations that say that you can't do it. And that's what breathwork is for. Again. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up about this episode. Thank you for watching to the end. If you've watched to the end, please like and subscribe, as this helps the algorithm show me to more people. I appreciate you for checking in to every episode, if you have. And if you haven't, I recommend that you go watch the other videos, so that way you can be in tune and I don't know, caught up. Because as a show at the end of the day, it's a podcast / show / I don't know, something that's gonna last forever. Shit. Again, the name is Anpu Moon, and this was The Dark Side of the Moon. Thank you.